Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is the new Double Shot Show. Comes your way every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And here we go. Arthur Smith met with the assembled media over on the South Side and shared with the group, and it turns out along the way shared with his players as well, something that he'd shared with me immediately after the game in Denver. And I got to tell you, it's got a really, really good sound to it, because what he believes and what he told me out there, well, it's a little bit different. What he told me out there specifically was that he felt that the game should have been a blowout, meaning in the first half. And he's right. I completely believe that he's right. 10 clear points were left on the field because of the penalties, because of other stuff that went wrong. But once you get up on somebody, especially a team like Denver that has no offense, 20-0, 23-0, you're on your way to a big rout. Didn't happen. He believes, what he's been telling his guys, this is where the difference is, the dam is about to break. He elaborated on that today.
The first half, we're getting closer. So you see the progress. You're not sitting there blowing smoke, trying to pump their tires. I mean, you have evidence of it. And like I said, it's a process. We got to continue. Whether we started hot, at some point, this thing's so long, you have like 4 lifetimes in an NFL season. You really do. And injuries happen, players develop, whatever's going on, or people start playing you. If you just got to study. The other side has a say. There's smart coaches and players on the other side. So it's a constant work in progress, but I definitely have seen progress. We need more points, clearly, and we'll get there.
See what I mean? See what I mean? That's the kind of confidence that they're operating with right now. This is why I think you're seeing, hearing, and reading from a lot of people, not just myself, that this offense feels good about itself despite just 1 touchdown through 2 games. Chris Halleck will be joining me in our main segment coming up to discuss that further. The Penguins had their second day of training camp, and as Evgeny Malkin tends to do, he gives up the floor to Sidney Crosby on the first day. He takes the floor on the second. He was asked, of course, about Sid signing the extension and being there, like Gino for life.
We wait a little bit longer than thinking, but from my point, I know he's signed, because I said before, nobody see his other team, He's play here forever. He's captain, He's everything for city, everything for this organization. I mean, if he signed other team, I would be shocked, But I'm glad he stay here. Exciting new season, and we work hard every day. I mean, a couple new guys. It's really good. But again, focus to every day be better. And again, glad to say sit here.
Got to tell you, I was out there yesterday, and the spirits are high, including with 71. And so was his speed level and energy level. I know how old he is. I get it. I also know that he's played 82 games each of the past 2 years, and he is still arguably the NHL's best number 2 center. Don't forget that. And he comes at a bargain. It's a blessing to still have him here. Don't ever, ever paint that in a negative light. Pirates conclude mercifully their series in St. Louis tonight. That's a 7:15 p.m. Eastern time start. It is possibly 82 day in their world. That, of course, representing the 82nd loss. That will, of course, represent the 28th. Can you believe this? Stop every once in a while and think about the scope of the failure of this franchise. The 28th losing season out of the past 32. And yet it's at least sounding like, from the mouths of Ben Cherington and Derek Shelton, that they think they're coming back. I'll wait until I hear it from the very top. Here's hoping that Bob Nutting does what he did in 2019 and just flushes it all away. If I start talking about baseball, I'm going to stay on it the whole time. We'll be right back with Chris Halleck.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores, track the latest stats, chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
As promised, joined now by Chris Halleck over on the south side. And if he appears distracted to you, it's because he's a man on a righteous mission. He's doing the Lord's work today. How many lantern flies you got over there?
44 and counting right now. I'm definitely going for a career high.
Wow.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I topped out at 100 once, because these guys, when they come downtown, they love the glass buildings. These idiots bounce off the glass buildings and fall to the sidewalk, and they're just sitting there. They're just easy prey. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. And I could probably go right over here and kill about 5 of them right now if I wanted to. But let's talk some Steelers football.
I don't know, man. That's a tough spot. You know, it's funny. People are watching this right now going, "What's a lantern fly who don't live in Pittsburgh?" You know, believe me, you don't want to know. Chris and I were in Denver over the weekend. We kept looking around for them, and they weren't there.
They haven't figured out how to get a mile high yet.
Arthur Smith had some stuff to say today. We played that in the opening segment, Chris, and what you hear from him right now is a man who's exuding confidence. He believes that the Steelers they're not just knocking on the door, they're banging on it.
Yes, and he kept going back to, like, he experienced something similar in Tennessee. And I'm going to write more of this later on dkpittsburghsports.com, so I definitely urge you to go read it whenever it's up. I went and looked at his first year as offensive coordinator in 2019 with the Titans, and I saw the first game. They scored 43 points. I'm like, Arthur, what are you smoking? But then the next 5 games, they definitely struggled. Not only did the team lose 4 of 5 games, I think the most, let's say they only had one game where they scored more than 20, and then another game they got shut out. So there was definitely a struggle there. But then after that, it was 20s, 20s, 30s, 20s, 30s.
And for anybody who doesn't know, Chris is referring to that edition of the Titans that had Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown and who was the quarterback?
Ryan Tannehill took over as quarterback.
Ryan Tannehill, the mature version of Ryan Tannehill, took over. And you saw the Titans just break through and become a really, really consistent and multifaceted offense. He sees that happening, but he also understands why it's not. And that's the part that I like the best. He's not in some kind of denial. He sees that the offensive line is having issues. He sees why. He sees the penalties. And I guess if there's one thing that nobody really in the Steelers orbit can comfortably talk about, at least not to people like us, it's that he's only got one wide receiver, you know. But he likes what he has, and I guess the rest is just up to Omar Khan, and they'll let him worry about it. Know what I mean?
Yeah. The one thing that I think we're seeing, though, is that it's not just Arthur Smith, like, off by himself, and he's just this crazy old man that's just like, don't worry, it's all going to break through. All the players are buying into this too.
They're totally in, Chris.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the reason that I was able to run into him after the game in Denver is that he was working his way around from locker to locker, going to each of his guys, and they're with him. Now, you know that, and I heard that and felt that out in Denver as well. And there's something there. Now, it's not universal, okay? There's, Broderick Jones is kind of on his own island right now. And I think that's one of the reasons that he's not, that he's not holding on to his starting job at the moment. But overall, these guys feel like, and I don't even know what it is that they have in their head, Chris, because I don't know if they envision some sort of 30, 35 point all of a sudden outburst. I don't. Certainly not against a good defense like San Diego. But what is it that you think that they feel would quantify really as a breaking through the door?
Shoot, man, if this offense can score more than 20 points a game,
they win.
They'll win a lot of games. They'll win 11 or 12 games.
Yep.
Because as long as like we talked about yesterday, if the defense stays healthy, they're a top five defense. And so if the offense can complement that by scoring at least 20 points a game, they're going to win football games.
Yeah, 20 points of their own, by the way. 20 points of their own, not counting defensive points.
Correct, and the reason why is because there's who knows if it's the right recipe to win a Super Bowl, but it's the right recipe to win football games, at least in the regular season, because it's time of possession. It's running the football. It's keeping the ball out of the other team's hands. One of the best ways to beat Patrick Mahomes, if you don't have a guy who can go toe-to-toe with him, is keep him on the sideline.
It's the old Tom Brady principle, too. If you keep him
Yeah.
off the field, he can't hurt you. Even he's not that good.
Right.
So what we're talking about here is 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals, which doesn't seem like a whole lot to ask out of an offense. Having the ball, what do you usually have it in a game? Number of drives, 8, 9, 10. Number of possessions that you have. Put 4 of them. Put 4 of them somewhere near the end zone.
And see, here's the thing: for the first 6 quarters of the season, I'm not going to just completely discount the final 2 quarters in which they were not good.
No.
But the first 6 quarters of the season, they put points on the board on 8 of 14 drives.
Yep.
Like they can. I mean, like it really is something. I mean, Justin Fields said it today. It's not that defenses are stopping them; they are really getting in their own way because of all these penalties that they've been committing. So if they can clean that stuff up, they believe that, hey, defenses aren't stopping us right now. We can continue to do this, and we'll actually start scoring actual touchdowns instead of settling for field goals.
Let's listen right here to a little bit of what Fields had to say.
Arthur Smith and your teammates have both all said that they feel like the dam's about to break. Do you feel in a similar way that you guys are on the verge of being able to just put up a lot of points in the game?
Yeah, I think so. That just continues to go back to the point of we're shooting ourselves in the foot at the end of the day. Drives are not stopping because the defense is stopping. It's stopping because we're stopping ourselves at the end of the day. So if we clean up everything, we'll be fine.
Speaking of confidence, huh, Chris? Wow. I mean, he just exudes it, but then he's kind of been that way since the day he showed up. There hasn't been his personality hasn't done this. It's just, spiking up and down. It's been level.
Yeah, he has been very, very confident, very cool, just about as cool as he is in the pocket, which Arthur Smith also complimented today, saying that Justin's been really, really good in the pocket, been really cool in the pocket, that he's not been a guy who's getting his eyes down too quickly. It's happened at times, but no quarterback bats 1,000 in that regard. But he has been as confident as I can remember. Now, I didn't cover him in Chicago, but he does look like a different quarterback here. I don't think we're seeing it quite come to fruition in terms of actual numbers, but it's there.
It's there, and I'll tell you what I said a week ago, and you got some negative backlash to that from some of the people who take the show in, that this is his team. But who's arguing it now, or who would argue it after he wins Sunday against the Chargers? It's his team, his offense, I should say.
Correct. Also, I would be remiss to not mention that Najee Harris has a very, very intuitive solution for how this team is going to get more consistent on offense with practice. That was the answer in totality, by the way.
That's actually good, though, because he's the one that's been complaining more than anybody under the Matt Canada era, that there wasn't enough commitment to accountability. Hey, if this guy messes this part of the play up, why isn't he hearing about it? Because it's affecting all of us. They all say that's the number one thing that Smith has brought to the offense. And look, hey, nobody's making any predictions here. Chris, I didn't hear you make any. I'm not making any. This isn't about saying they're going to be great and they're going to put up 35 points, okay? But the process is definitely in place, and the process is making progress, real progress. And for me today to hear Smith share that with everybody, that's pretty heartening stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, there is capability there. Arthur Smith did a lot of stuff with that Tennessee offense. And I understand that everybody wants to just point to Derrick Henry being King Henry. I don't think it's just a coincidence that those were his 2 most productive seasons in the NFL.
Yep. Funny how that works, huh? When we come back, J1Q. Thanks, Chris.
Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different. help prevent gun accidents, misuse, and theft. Keep firearms safe and secure when not in use. For safe storage options, visit projectchildsafe.org.
Welcome back. Time for J1Q, and today's entry comes from Jeff Butler, as he put it, in my office in Manhattan.
Hey, DK, all summer we heard about Arthur Smith's offense, leading to this being the year of Muth. But Matt Williamson, on his awesome podcast, raised some surprisingly low usage numbers. And I've seen a number of clips from the Broncos game of Freiermuth being open but just not getting the look and apparently being frustrated about it. Some of that may be receiver posturing, but is there something else going on?
You know, this is a really good question. It's not all that often I get a question that includes information that I wasn't privy to. When you're in press boxes, for anybody who doesn't know this, how reporting and stuff works, we have silent monitors. We have no access to the actual TV feed. In a lot of stadiums, they just show you what's being played on the scoreboard, which can be really neutered. So our selection of replays and things like that, and different camera angles, is really limited until we get back to Pittsburgh and have a chance to look at the full film. I did not notice Freiermuth looking frustrated or anything, so I can't really say anything about that. What I can share is that I spoke with him in the locker room afterward. Dude, he was stoked. He really liked what he saw of the offense. And when I brought up his role in it, he said it's getting there. Same stuff that we were just talking about regarding Arthur Smith. He feels like Freiermuth does, that it's just a matter of time until the middle of the field starts getting used more. And as a result, the plays will start leaning more toward there. And you'd have to think that that means that Justin Fields is going to be thinking in that direction as well. I wouldn't worry about it. If you're not aware of Freiermuth's stats through 2 games, yes, the usage has been severely limited. He's been targeted 8 total times. However, he's got 8 catches to show for those 8 targets, 62 yards. 36 of those have come after the catch. So he's doing everything up to and including being effective enough, being threatening enough that when he ran right down at the goal line and Darnell Washington ran left, guess who was open for the touchdown? Mount Washington. They don't do that. They don't peel away from you or with you if they don't think you can hurt them. I don't see any Freiermuth drama. I don't see anything close to it. I don't know that I've ever seen the guy happier, actually, than he's been the last couple of weeks. And if you've seen the terms of his contract extension, you probably got a pretty good idea why. I appreciate that, Jeff. I appreciate everybody watching Double Shot. We'll be back with one more tomorrow to get you really ready for Steelers versus Chargers. Let's do it then.